Hi guys, this is Camila, real estate agent from Premium Propiedades.
And this is David Mauricio, also real estate agent and founder of Premium Propiedades and Medellin advisor.
And today we're going to talk about 8 things everyone should know about buying property in Medellin, Colombia. So before we start getting into the 8 points, we want to give you an introduction about Medellin. So Medellin used to be on the map because for all different reasons. From the 70s to the 90s, the city grappled with violence. And it was because of the drug trafficking, the gang violence, and the government unrest, while international tourism and the Colombian peso plunked. The city rebuilt itself at the end of the 90s after the violence climax and is slowly becoming one of the best destinations for backpackers and before emerging as one of today's best kept real estate secrets.
And dollar for dollar, Medellin beats out countries like Mexico, Costa Rica, and other Caribbean nations for affordability, while also offering a state-of-art metro station, diverse culinary scene, 3 to 5 hours flight from Miami to New York respectively, and having a thriving expat community. So all these things together, it makes Medellin a really good place to invest and buy property. So now the only thing that is left is how do you go from dreaming about buying a property here to actually acquiring one in the city of Eternal Spring.
Okay, so let's start with the topics. So Mara, I want to ask you, what do you think about when I say location?
I think about the 3 magic words in real estate, which are location, location, location. So yeah, obviously location in real estate is super important. And if you're coming to Colombia and you're looking for a rental property, then I think you should keep your sights into Poblado and to Laureles and maybe, yeah, it could be Envigado too. And the reason is that these 3 areas has such a name recognition. So the most people who comes here would naturally be staying in either Laureles, Poblado and Envigado. And between those 3 areas, you have Poblado and Envigado, which is located on the hills of El Oriente. Yeah. So you get really nice views, you get proximity to the airport, you have a nightlife district of the city, a lot of high-end restaurants, the financial district and so on. So you have, if you buy there, you would have a lot of people that you could rent out to. And then if you go to Laureles, then it's more flat, so you don't get as nice views as in Poblado. And for that you get more families that can walk a stroll. Yeah, walkability is a high point in their
in that area.
In that area. So question number 2, Camila, why do you think it's important to hire a good real estate lawyer?
Okay, so the first thing that I will think about is the title study. This is something very important to you before you sign any purchase agreement because you want to make sure that the property is clean. And if the property has any mortgage or any lien, you want to know that before signing that purchase agreement. The second thing that I will think about is the purchase agreement. Your lawyer will be in charge of doing this. So in the purchase agreement, you will have all the deal terms, how much you're going to pay in the down payment, and you will have also the dates of the payments. So the date of the down payment and the date of the final payment. And the other thing that I will think about is the investment visa. This is very important for some of our clients. So for this year, the amount that you will have to invest for the visa from 1 to 3 years is 350 million Colombian pesos, and for the 5 years visa it will be 650 million Colombian pesos. This amount can vary next year. The other thing that your lawyer will be in charge of is to come with you in the day of the deed transfer because your lawyer will want to make sure that everything is right on the deed. And last but not least is, since you're buying a property in a different country, so you want your lawyer to explain all the legal terms and how real estate works here in Colombia.
So to the question number 3 in the article, the real estate market in Colombia works differently than in your home market. Is that true or no?
Yes, it's true. So the first thing about real estate here in Colombia is that you don't need a license to become a real estate agent. So for this, it's very important for you to find a really good real estate agent that really knows the market and can help you with all of this real estate venture in a different country. The other thing that works different here is the commission. The commission here is just 3%, different than in the US and Europe, which is most of the times from 5 to 6%. And another thing here is that handshake means nothing. So you don't have a deal until you sign a purchase agreement. And the other thing that I would think about is that we don't do inspections here in Colombia, and instead of paying a deposit, you will pay a down payment when you sign the purchase agreement. So it works very different. And last thing is that MLS doesn't exist here. So we have some different platforms that will work as an MLS, but is so different. And they are Metro Cuadrado, Finca Raíz, but most of these websites, so many agents have the same properties. Some of them list the properties with different prices, and they don't update that website. So you can see a property that is on that website, but it can be already sold, but the real estate agent didn't take it down from the website. So yeah, I think those are most of the differences. Okay, Marvel, so topic number 4 is make your bank or real estate venture. What would you say about this?
So to make bank or your real estate venture here in Colombia, there's 2 main options. And the first one would be with a bank. The second option would be with a brokerage account. So let me explain the first, with a bank. So there's 2 ways to do it with a bank. Either you can open up your own bank account, and to that you need a passport, and a lawyer can help you with the rest. So you set up the bank account, then you do the wire transfer over to the bank. As soon as the money hits the account, they're going to be blocked. And that's when you need to provide the documentation in order to unblock the wire. And the documents that you will need is personal information, financial information, and proof of funds. So with these 3 requirements, they will ask you for this, and depending on what they find in these papers, they will unblock or no unblock the wire. So the worst case scenario, you would send in all your paperwork and they will block the wire, they wouldn't accept it, and then they will transfer back the money again. And then you could go to the second option if you still want to use a bank, and that is to send the money directly from your international bank over to the Colombian seller in the bank account here. But then you will have to go through the same process, the same documentation, and hope they would accept this wire. And to the second option, which is I would say it's recommended for us within the company. And the reason is that to open up a brokerage account, what you do is that to open up, you first need to submit the documents, the same documents, the personal information, the financial information, and the proof of funds. When you have done this, then they're gonna tell you, okay, you're accepted, or your account is open or not. And when it's open, then you can securely send over the funds, and then you know it's going to be accepted, because they wouldn't be able to open an account if you wouldn't be accepted. So that's the big reason why we prefer that step, because it's secure. Because obviously if you send over money and they get blocked, you will not be able to continue the deal, but what you would do is that you would still have to pay the fees. So yeah, recommendation is first open up a brokerage account, and second is to go with a bank.
Exactly. So topic number 5 is don't take it personally. So is it true that you can discriminate as a foreign buyer for the seller?
Yes, the answer is definitely yes. And what we see is that a lot of Colombians assume that a foreigner is rich, and even if that might be the case, you don't want to come out as a rich person or pay more than the market price. You actually want to pay below market price always.
Of course.
Yeah. So yeah, very important. And how can you make sure that you pay below market price or market price for property? Well, the answer is you have a really local and experienced real estate agent who really knows the market and knows what you're buying, what you should buy in order to make a good investment. So what is still applicable here in Colombia is the 1% rule, which means that if you buy a property for, let's say, 1,000,000 millones, which is equal to 250,000 USD, you want to be able to rent that out gross 1% a month, would be equal to 2,500 USD or 10 millions in this case. So if you can do that and you're sure you can do that on a property, then it's probably a good investment. And then how do you know that you really can't rent this property out for the 1% rule? Well, once again, you want to have an experienced real estate agent who knows the rental market. So within our company, for example, Premium Propiedades, we specialize in both sales and property management. So when we sell the properties, we also rent them out. So we do know almost exactly how much you will be able to rent it out for, and can do a really good estimation on the rental price for the property that you're interested in.
So another thing that I will add there is that this rule applies when the apartments are furnished.
Good point. Yes, the apartment has to be furnished, so you should add that into the calculation as well.
Okay, Mauro, so topic number 6 is leave a paper trail. What would you say about this?
Yeah, like the article is stating, it's like an advanced salsa dance. It's easy to mess up, but the seamlessly smooth orchestration when it's done by professionals. Once you have identified your dream property, it's time for the real estate agent to make an offer and for the lawyer to do her due diligence on the property. And in order to start this process, you would need a numero matricola, which is a property ID of this property. And with that, the lawyer can get the Certificado de Tradición y Libertad, which is a dossier of the property, which contains the history of the owners, if there's any mortgages on the property or any liens on the property.
So after all of this information has been verified, your lawyer will obtain the Paz y Salvo de Predial, which is the tax-free property certificate, Paz y Salvo de Valorización, which is the tax-free value gain property certificate, and then Paz y Salvo de Administración, so you want to make sure there's no outstanding balance of the HOA.
And when this process is done, then you can securely go and sign the purchase agreement.
And after all of this information has been verified, your lawyer will obtain the following documents. So it will be Paz y Salvo de Predial, which is the tax-free property certificate, Paz y Salvo de Valorización, which is the tax-free on value gain property certificate, and Paz y Salvo de Administración. So make sure there is not outstanding balance of the HOA fee. Okay, Mauro, so topic number 7 is delivery on property. So what can you tell us about this?
Yeah, so to actually buy the property, you obviously need to deliver on this purchase agreement. You need to make sure that you can fulfill all the obligations in the purchase agreement. And one big of them is that you, as a buyer, you will need to, when you sign the purchase agreement, you normally do that and you do the down payment in order to secure the apartment. So you will need to be absolutely sure that you can pay the down payment at the set date to not be facing the penalty clause. And once again, you also need to make sure that you have the funds in the country. Normally it's 10% down payment, so when you do the final payment it's 90%. So you want to make sure that you can deliver on that. And it's the same, if you're a seller, you want to make sure that you actually can sell the property within the stipulated time frames in the purchase agreement. So those are some factors that are super important to have in mind when you're delivering on the property. So don't sign anything that you're not 100% sure that you can deliver on, because if you do, then you will be facing a penalty clause, and a penalty clause is normally between 15 to 30%. It's negotiable, as everything here in Colombia, but the standard would say like 20%.
20%, yeah.
So yeah, make sure to not sign any papers legally binded before you know that you can deliver on the property. So we have come to the final part of the article, which is point number 8, and it's the following through part. Can you tell us about this step?
Okay, so in order to make the purchase and the property exchange legally or right, it's very important that you register the purchase of your property in the database of the Department of Registry in Colombia, which is the lawyer's job. And the proper registration of your purchase will save you a lot of headaches when it comes time to sell the property. Okay guys, that was it for today's video. So we're very happy to see you in the next one. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on the notification, and leave us some comments below.
See you next month.
See you next month.
Bye bye.